What's up, guys? Welcome to another week of Sussy Stuff. My name is Blythe,
And I'm Emma.
and welcome back. Today, we are going to preview and break down this Tennessee Georgia game. How are you feeling this week about this game? I think the pressure was definitely preseason. You could probably say this pressure was going to be on Tennessee, but now this pressure is on the Georgia Bulldogs this week. This is insane. They're going to be feeling the heat. This was a bye week for Tennessee after they defeated Florida the week before. I mean, this is a huge, dynamic SEC matchup, and this could be a college football playoff elimination game for Georgia.
It absolutely could. They came off a tough loss to Ole Miss. They're on the edge of playoff contention. They're getting ready to walk the plank if they don't win this game. Tennessee CFP hopes also hinge on a strong performance here. Tennessee currently sits at 6th in the AP poll. Georgia is at 11. They dropped so far down. However, Vegas has Georgia winning. They're favored 9.5 points. I feel like that means because they have that home field advantage that Vegas feels like they can really pull it out. But a lot of analysts are like, I don't think so. Georgia's been so shaky. We saw that against Kentucky. We saw that against Mississippi State. They obviously lost to Bama and Ole Miss on the road. They've had an incredibly difficult season all around, but this is not the Georgia that we're used to, especially in the offense with Carson Beck. I think he got sacked 5 times against Ole Miss. So their offensive line is not helping him at all.
And honestly, we've talked about this week in and week out. Georgia, for me, has just not blown me away. They haven't done anything special. And honestly, I mean, if you take the G off of Georgia's helmet, you'll see a team that's had one solid game all season. I mean, of course, the Bulldogs have talent on both sides of the football, but they have just not looked that strong outside of the game against Texas.
No, they haven't at all. And I know that was a ranked win, so that does mean something. But now they've had 2 ranked losses as well. And those games could be considered at a playoff level tier game. So they've already kind of lost twice in the playoffs. So their resume is not looking good overall. And like you said, I think it's the logo. I think they're sitting at 11 because they're Georgia, because of their track record in the past. But this year, it's just not the same. They haven't been able to find a rhythm. And manage big scoring opportunities throughout. The offensive line, like I said, really needs to protect Carson Beck more, especially against Tennessee's defensive front. They have an incredible
Mhm.
defense. So it's just not looking good to be a Georgia Bulldog right now. They've also had a few injuries, but they will be getting some players back as well. So it's going to be a really interesting game for sure.
It is. In the last three games, Beck hasn't been pressured all that often. Just 37 times and 125 dropbacks. But it's what he's really done on those 37 pressures that brings, I think, the biggest concern. I mean, he has just 8 completions with 7 sacks and 5 interceptions. That's good for a passing rate of 0. It's just, it's insane. And I think I saw today somewhere that he has had to turn off his phone. He has been getting some kind of calls and threats from Tennessee fans already, taking it way too far. But that is just insane.
No, I again, when you get into the Twitter sphere or you start like actually calling these people out, it's like, guys, let's take a step back. We love college football and we love trash talk on the day and everything and throughout the week on your own campuses, but leave the players alone. My gosh. They're children,
Um,
they're doing their best. But yeah, I mean, Carson Beck has not lived up to what he's done in the past, and we've broken it down before. And it's like he's missing Brock Bowers, he's missing Lamb and he's
mhm.
just not connecting. And I really think for him, it's protecting the ball should be his biggest concern this week. If you feel like you're getting pressured, throw it away. And I feel
Yeah.
like he's bad at that. He wants to make these connections downfield, but it's like that play limits you going further. If you just throw it away, you might have a couple more downs to get something going. You could run a couple plays, do a couple easy screen passes, but It's just not been his year, and again, not so good news for Georgia. Nico Iamaleava, who was mildly injured, in the last game he played, it seems like he is expected to start, and when Nico gets hot, it's
It's
hard.
burning.
It's hard to stop him. Yeah, yeah. Exactly, and this Tennessee team has been known to not sub a lot. They've known to, get to their next play within 20 seconds, so that really throws defenses off. And if I was going to put a big spotlight on any part of this Georgia team, I'd say their defense overall has been pretty good.
Yeah.
Um, maybe not in the Ole Miss game, but they still limited Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart can go and put crazy scores up, and they did limit them a bit. So it is really going to be interesting to see if they will be able to limit Tennessee, and how Georgia's offense will be able to play against Tennessee's defensive front, who have been absolutely exceptional this year.
Yes. For me, I really like this Volunteers running game, and I think they can stay out of the obvious passing situations. I really do. I like Tennessee in this game. I know it's at home for the Bulldogs. I just think there's too much stress on them right now. There's too much pressure. And if they lose this game, this will be crazy for these standings. Like I you better buckle up. Like this is insane. Like this is going to be crazy.
It is, and I mean, I looking at it now, I am picking Tennessee. I know what Vegas says. I know what the betting lines say. I know it's a home game for Georgia, but they just haven't produced, except like you said, in one game, and that was going to Texas. They have had an incredibly hard schedule, and this is the schedule that they never had when there were division lines in the SEC, SEC East and West. So welcome to playing everybody in the SEC.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder. So if they are going to win, Carson Beck has to protect the ball. Carson Beck has to, I don't know, find something in him that makes him play a consistent performance for 4 quarters, or else I feel like Tennessee's defense is too strong. And I feel like when Nico Iamaleava gets hot, it's really hard to stop him. So I honestly, picking now, I do think Tennessee is going to win. I've kind of gone back and forth with it all. And if Tennessee wins, I mean, Georgia will be in the 12-team playoff this year, which is mind blowing to think about. If we go back to the beginning of the season, we were like, oh, they'll be ranked in the top four. They're going to get that SEC bye week, SEC championship bye week. And here we are now in November, 3 weeks left, and it's absolutely insane. So to think about.
Yeah, it's just he's just been too inconsistent, especially these last 3 games, these past 3 weeks, where it really, really mattered. These high pressure situations, he just couldn't convert. And I think, like we talk about each week, it's who can outlast every single week. These games are just getting tougher. These schedules are getting harder. These teams are beaten down. You got people hurt. You got people stressed. There's too many things going on. But when it matters and being under pressure like that, if you truly are the best team, you have to be able to rise up to that moment, not making the moment too big. And maybe that's what he's doing. But I think if he can settle in, you got that home field advantage, you have your team, you have your fans, this will be okay for them. But as we've seen the last 3 weeks in these big pressure situations, that hasn't been the case.
Oh, not at all. And I will preface this. I don't want to see either team's fans throwing trash on the field. If we have to stop this now. I mean, we got it in the Big Ten. And then we had it, of course, Texas started it. Thanks, Texas. And then we had it in the LSU Alabama game. So we don't need fans throwing garbage on the poor little cheerleaders who are holding their signs over their head. But I want to talk about if Tennessee does lose this game, and there is an absolute
Yeah.
chance of that happening. Georgia could play angry and realize that their life is on the line here and win. I think they have every capability of doing that. So if Tennessee loses, they are now a 2-loss team. Georgia would be a 2-loss team. Alabama's a 2-loss team. Ole Miss is a 2-loss team, and if Texas loses to Texas A&M, both of them would be a 2-loss team. So the SEC championship race is just going to continue to get crazier and crazier. So, and we love the chaos here. So we're we might be rooting for Georgia to beat Tennessee.
Yes.
Um, but we're excited. I'm excited.
I am definitely excited. This has truly been one of the wildest, most unpredictable college football seasons that I can ever recall, I think. And obviously, the NIL has changed that. The transfer portal has changed that. All of these things that are factoring in now in this new era of college football has just completely changed the entire game. And I think we're just going to see that year in and year out, too. It's just going to become more of that. I think it will be, honestly, become more like the NFL,
Yeah.
more business. Um, and like we talked about before, I don't know how I feel about that. I am a college football lover girl at heart, and I don't want it to stray too far away from that. Hopefully, we can reel that back in some to keep this tradition and the passion of the college football fans
Yeah.
still in the forefront.
We hope, but I mean, as teams that have more access to the NIL, as more people utilize it, these teams start leveling out, and then it just becomes who's better on the day, or which team has a strength that complements the other team's weakness that they can expose. So it makes these matchups so unpredictable. It makes being a college football fan so much fun, even more
It makes
so.
our job so much fun. And even looking forward, I don't even think we need to be sad when football season's over because we are going to have so much drama in the off season. It's going to be insane. I can't even imagine what the portal's going to be like, what these programs are going to do recruiting wise. Like, I'm sure it is going to be insane. So we will have much more to talk about then as well. So be sure that everyone is following us. You're subscribing on YouTube. We have a Twitter account. We are on TikTok as well. Be sure to follow us on there. We have some really cool creative videos coming out. And then obviously our Sussy Stuff Instagram page.